repair movements.
Yeah, as things become more a combination of hardware and software, we're doing more of that kind of repair at Fix-It Clinic. And these virtual Fix-It Clinics are actually better suited for that in some levels, because the software issues we can address remotely easier than, you know, than the hardware stuff sometimes. But I've got a 7th grader fixing smartphones. You know, there's no limit to this stuff, right? So it's about, you know, these virtual events are attracting over time a more technology savvy participant and a more technology savvy Fix-It coach as well.
Definitely.
Sarah, did you get your screws out?
I got 4 out of the 6, and I'm afraid the other 2 are
Security bits?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe already.
You can feel it. It gets to the top of it, but you can't get it to engage.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. So.
If you shine a flashlight down in there, you'll probably see that there's a pin in the middle of the hole that you're trying to get into, and without the right wrench or the right tool, the right bit, it's that's a hard one.
So I missed this part. Like, how deeply recessed are those screws? Maybe just the head of the length of the screwdriver is not sufficient.
Well, like I said, 4 out of the 6 came, and then these other 2, I feel like I might already strip one of them.
Can you feel that you're touching them with the top of the screwdriver?
Yeah.
So the screwdriver won't go in the hole, and you still have room. That was a good question.
Yeah, can you point it down so we can just see like what?
Yeah.
What you're working on is kind of.
Oh, there you go. Good job.
All right.
And so if you put the screwdriver in that hole, can we see what it looks like with the screwdriver in that hole? We want to be sure it's long enough.
Put it to the side.
Ah, okay. Ah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
That screwdriver won't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you have
Regular screwdriver.
A regular screwdriver, not one that's got replaceable tips.
Okay, I'll look for a longer screwdriver.
Do you have one? Oh, let's see. There we go. That looks like that.
Yeah, not one with replaceable tips.
Yep.
I think she already went away. Sarah!
The radar says it's going to be raining here at my house any minute.
No. Better close your windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see if it actually does or misses by. It looks like it's really close.
We're supposed to be hosting like 8 people tonight for a birthday party dinner, and I was hoping we could eat outside. And I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Oh
I
my.
think so.
Oh man.
Whose birthday?
It was my husband's birthday yesterday. He turned 29.
Okay.
Big 2-9.
Mm.
So grilling steak in the rain, I guess. Be good.
At least it's only 8 people and not 28.
Now, what's the maximum for gatherings now? Is it up to 25 at least?
I don't know.
No idea. No idea, except the drive-by birthday and celebration seems to have caught on with us. There's a kid across the street, and probably 3 or 4 times in the past several weeks, he's had lines of cars going by with people waving and beeping their horns and doing drive-by celebrations with them.
Guys, Sarah's back with a different screwdriver. I can't tell if she's doing okay or not.
Yep, looks like she is.
Right?
I mean, it looks like it's long enough.
I don't know. I I don't know how well I'm doing. I'm gonna stick my phone. I feel like it got a little better. And like I can see the screw a little better, but
Well, let's talk about what we're going to do once the cover's off. If we don't have the right tools to determine if we're getting AC in the right spot, do we really want it taking it apart at this point?
Agreed. So
Sarah, do you have a multimeter or voltmeter or something like
No.
that?
no.
So before we go any further, can we just look at the wall end of the plug?
Yes.
Because usually, if we were in person, we'd kind of follow the power. We'd make sure that there was power in the power bar, and then we'd look at the plug, and that looks pretty good. We hold it up a little bit, if you would. That looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it has a fuse in it. Some things, they've been sticking fuses in plugs lately.
Yeah, but Howard, good call, because sometimes, you know, not that you did this, Sarah, but usually
Yep.
when people use these things, they yank them out of the wall by the wire.
Yep.
So what I've also seen is that if you can very carefully push in the wire while it's plugged in, push it in from the wire, sometimes that'll make a connection in the head of the plug itself.
At least to confirm the diagnosis. Yeah. So it'll be okay to do this while you have those 4 screws out. If you were to plug that in and then just kind of grab the wire behind the plug and push it towards the wall, towards the plug, kind of pushing the wire into the plug a bit. Sometimes what happens is when you pull on a cord, the wires inside the cord become disconnected from the prongs of the plug. And by pushing the wire forward, it gives it a connection, even if it's just briefly, to tell us that the plug is the issue.
Okay, so just
Does
so
that
I
make
make sure I understand,
Yeah, go ahead.
you're talking about I plug this in to the
Yep.
wall.
Yep.
And I push this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Just
try
to make sure it looks new. It doesn't look like you've used it a lot. Probably not the issue, but we should try it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's doing it.
Not going to help, yeah. So, yeah. And back to Pat's question. I think it was Pat was saying, you know, what are we going to do when we get it open? I think that's a valid question. Even if you were to get those screws out, what happens is the power comes into that through that cord, and assuming the power is making it all the way up to the cord, it goes inside that device, and it goes to something that makes 12 volts out of 120 volts. It's called a bridge rectifier. It's a thing. It's a pretty common. We see it in a lot of things. And so it takes the electricity and it turns it from AC to DC and makes it compatible with the device. And that thing is probably the thing that has the issue. And without a multimeter and such, it's going to be difficult to repair virtually.
Sure.
So probably okay to put the screws back in it, because once we got it open, unless there was something obvious, unless there was a wire hanging loose, you know, unless the wire inside had gotten pulled hard and broke the corner of the circuit board off or something, it's not going to be something that we're going to be able to repair with you virtually.
Okay.
You guys agree with that? Pat, you were away.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and you missed the one time I've ever agreed with you. I was just saying that you're right. Once we get it open, I don't know what somebody said it. I hope it was it Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said once we get it open, what are we going to do?
Right. Without another power cord, we're not really.
Yep. So and
Right now it's usable still with the DC.
It's probably the bridge rectifier, Pat. If I had to guess, just off the top of my head, unless one of the wires is pulled loose from the board, which we're not in a position to be able to fix, then it's a bridge rectifier. It's not making 12 volts, and
Or the cord is broken. Either way, you have
Right.
to parts and
right.
leave it
Right.
together and use it on 12 volts until we can look closer at it.
There you go. That's a good solution.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Yep, you bet. Otherwise, I have one up here on the shelf.
Of course you do.
Of course I do.
My cat wants to join the clinic. He's broken, he squeaks. Any tips?
Well, Kirsten, we had a lady contact us about some lamps, and she was 85 and she felt that she didn't have the technical expertise. And I handed that off to Dave Steimer, and while we've been doing our thing here, he drove to her house and brought along some cords and helped her fix her lamps and taught her what he was doing. And so there it goes.
Oh, cool. That's
Nice.
huge. Oh, we have somebody here. Beth. Let's see. Hi, Beth. It looks like you're connecting to your audio and you're on mute. There we go. Unmute. Hi, Beth.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. Oh, this is so fun.
Good.
Fun, you know, I would use that loosely, but it's nice to see a bunch of people here.
It's nice to see you too. So Beth is the one who has the pleated window shade, right?
Yes,
Okay. Can you take us through what's going on with it?
sure. And the window shade is now off the window so that we can work with it. I know when I sent the picture, I wasn't able to get it off myself, so I thought I better just take pictures of it. So this window shade is, you know, it's probably 20 years old or so. It's pretty old, but it works. It's been working really well. And at one point, it stopped working. The cord catch stopped working, and so I took it in and actually had it repaired by a company, and it worked for a while. But now the cord locks about halfway, so I can get the shade open and stay open about halfway. But then if we try to open it all the way, it won't stay engaged. Let's see, my father-in-law looked at it and he wondered if maybe the cord that they used to restring it was too narrow, perhaps. So I'm sure the experts here might be able to give a little insight into that. But I'm wondering if there's any way that I can repair this myself, or with your guys' help.
I'm fuzzy on what the actual problem is. Can you restate that, please?
Sure. The shade does not stay up it does not stay open all the way open. It only stays about halfway open. It won't, if I try to pull it all the way open, it will not stay engaged.
So how do you just pull it up and then kind of pull the cord to the side, or what?
Yes. Yep.
And when you
Sorry.
pull it to the side and all the way up, nothing, you don't hear anything click or lock or anything, but you do
Correct. It does
halfway
not lock.
down, it does?
Yes.
Does it feel like any of the cords are broken?
No, because we had them all restrung a couple years ago.
Hi.
A year or so ago.
I wonder if that might relate to the weight, because I've got similar blinds, and the weight that it gets a little more restrictive as you pull it up. And if it's only maybe allowing a certain amount of weight to be held, as you pull it up higher, there's more tension on the cords.
Perhaps. That's totally possible.
Do you have can you try and show us on your
Sure.
camera?
I mean, like I said, I took it off the window because I figured I would have to get into it a little bit. But it's so it's just a standard pleated shade. You guys can probably see a little bit better here. And the cord mechanism here is on the right. Here, let me gather it up. So it will not stay locked in this position where it's all the way up. When we try to pull it to the side.
Can you put the
Can you
part?
look at the top?
Yeah,
Sure,
where the string goes into the top. Can you get that close to the camera?
sure. Now, right now, okay, there's a, it looks like it's covered. Oh goodness, hold on. Sorry for the delay.
You're good. We've got time.
The top has gotten, of course, my light isn't the greatest in this room either. The top has got, there's a piece that looks like I would have to, oh here, looks like I can take the edges off. I mean, it looks like I can do things to it to take it apart. But the top right now is just a flat plastic piece, and the mechanism is underneath on the inside of it.
Yeah, you need to take that off.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I believe so. And of course, I'm not sure how to take it off in a way that won't break it. The one side came off just fine. And this is the side that has the mechanism, which I can see kind of sticking out. Oh, I bet I know what to do.
Oh.
Did something come with that? The string go, does the string go through it?
Yes.
How many strings are there?
Let's see. I got my glasses back on for that ask. Okay, let's see. I believe that there's 3 strings.
And all 3 of them come out and are one bunch together down below, or?
Yeah, it looks like they're threaded through. Looks like they're threaded through on one side of this plastic piece and then feeding through to the other side. And then they go down in through the assembly here. And they do, I think they're connected probably to, you know, they're one, I'm guessing it's one of each of these
Right.
3.
So there's 3 of those that go up and down the length of the shade then.
Yeah, yep.
Can you see inside there what maybe something that catches the strings? Look inside the,
Inside down the middle. I might need to go grab a flashlight for that. It's, the weather's not cooperating to give me any natural light here today.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to, I could slide this whole mechanism out of this piece.
yeah, be careful.
I know. I'm like, do I want to is the question. Here, let me go get a flashlight that I can put down.
And her issue was it only goes down halfway.
So it won't, if she pulls it all the way up, it won't engage, but about halfway down, it'll engage. There's some kind of a hook or pawl in there that.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's a knurled roller.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so there are 3 strings coming across from the 3 different points on the shade, and then they come across a knurled roller that slides, and then there's a stationary roller. And so when you pull it, the knurled roller comes down and releases the strings so they can pull up. And then when you release it, that roller has to slide back up to the stationary roller, and that's what holds the curtain in position. And it's not sliding up enough to hold the to hold the strings in
Right.
position, or the strings are little and compacted and twisted and not, that isn't working. When you get it down further, there's less stress on it, so it's easier to grab hold,
Right,
I think.
right. I think that's probably right.
Do you have another one of those in the house?
No.
Oh, darn. Because does that one still work is always the question that we like to ask.
I know, right?
Yeah.
No, this is one of a kind.
Ah.
Hey guys, this is Sarah. I'm back on.
Hi, sir.
Hi. I actually have, I don't know if this would help, but I actually have a similar issue that I did get fixed. I brought it back. I brought the shade. I'm going to turn my phone camera around. And it's hard to see.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. And as you see, it only goes up as far as this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This really isn't helpful. I'm just saying I had the same thing. And they were able to restring it.
And that's what they did here. And it did work for when we first brought it home after we had it repaired. It did work for a while, and then by the time it didn't, I was like, well, I guess I won't go back. It's too late to go. It's too late to take it back and say, well, this didn't work. Now it's really too late. It's been a couple of years now.
Is the string the same size? I know it's hard to remember. It's been a while. Is the string the same size as the string that was in it before you had it restrung?
I think it's pretty close. You know what? No, it's not. It's probably
Thinner?
I bet it's a little bit thinner.
Yep. And that would explain it 100%. Because how thick it is what enables it to get caught between that moving roller and that pinch roller. And the thicker it is, the more it's going to get stuck up there in the high position.
Right.
As opposed to a little further down, it doesn't have to give as much resistance
Sure.
to falling down. So, I don't know what the right fix is to that, but Peter's raising shades.
I know.
As long as he's not throwing shade.
Very good.
Does anybody else have any recommendations?
Where did you take it to get restrung?
It was a place down in Burnsville that's run out of a gentleman's home. Can't think of it. I could look. I could find it, but it was in a residential area just south of Burnsville Mall.
So it did work for a while after he restrung it.
It did. Yeah.
And what was the original reason you brought it in? One of the strings broke?
Yep. Yep.
So that is the kind of thing that is not, as long as you have patience and you do maybe replace the strings one at a time, it is the kind of thing you can do yourself. If you were to find a more robust string.
Sure.
Right, but it did work, and she's got no broken strings, right?
Yep.
So
Right.
What, did it work? Did it work fully, or?
From what I can remember, it did work fully for a little while.
Okay. Okay.
my experience is that these things are really fiddly.
Yeah.
These,
You got to jiggle them and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A universal experience with these.
That's right. If it doesn't work, you try it again. If
Right.
it doesn't work, you try it again.
Well, then at a certain point you go, I guess I'll just get a new shade, but.
Yeah. Or restring
We're
it.
trying to avoid, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the design of those things is, they wear.
Yeah, they do.
Well, maybe I'll leave my aluminum ones up then.
Yeah, those have
I wouldn't be
ropes on them.
opposed to going back to this guy and saying, gee, I've been struggling with this for 2 years.
Yeah,
Can you help me out again?
I absolutely could do that and wouldn't mind. It was, it was a good experience and, it's like one of those things, but it's kind of just been sitting there and then once it's up, you're like, well, it's kind of hard to get down. So I'll just leave it. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, let me see if there's something that anybody else would have think of that we haven't thought of or
Sure.
or be able to try. But yeah, I think that that's probably their best next step.
It seemed like Sarah's, the lines on Sarah's were thicker too.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that I'm almost positive that the original strings were thicker.
And that will make it more finicky
Yep,
for sure.
and that makes sense.
So, yeah, the cords, like I said, the cords are replaceable. You just have to kind of follow the path of the old one. It's actually it's easier if you have the current ones in there because it shows you where to put them.
Sure, I bet it.
Yeah. Oh.
I would, if nothing's obviously broken, I would take it back to the guy and basically say, I've had, it worked fine for a while, but now it's just a little finicky. Is there something you can do? Because for all we know, he might have replaced the knurled knob and put a bigger one in or something like that. So.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
No, I think that's a great idea.
Yep. Cool.
All right.
Anybody else have anything they want to share? All right. Well, good luck, Beth.
Thank you. This has been fabulous. This is a great way to be able to try to get help without having to be in person. So I really appreciate you guys putting this on and hope it continues.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
great. Good feedback. That's what we need.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll send
you.
a survey sometime next week, but I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Great. Thank you. You too. Thanks so much.
Bye.
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 I struggle with my shades all of the time.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I fixed 2 rugs and a seat cushion.
There you go.
And the seat cushion's nice on my little stool that I was sitting on, so I'm much more comfortable now.
Well, the rain came and went.
Kirsten, was the shade the 1:30 item that was scheduled, or is there something else?
No, there's a printer that was scheduled at 1:30.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, if they sign on, the printer was not like it's stuck. There's like a cartridge that's stuck, and that's how I understand it.
And replace 2 of the 4 cartridges, but
Yeah.
the carriage wouldn't go all the way, wouldn't retract all the way, so they couldn't get it to come back out, and it's kind of in stuck mode.
Printers are another thing that I've got a limited life on purpose.
Yeah, you got that right.
Those rollers get dry and then they don't feed.
oh.
The bane of my existence.
Yeah, I mean, they sell the printers at a loss. They make their money on the cartridges.
Huh.
I actually have a subscription now. I pay them like $3 a month, and then when the cartridges get low, they know because it's connected to their website. They send you new ones, and
My neighbor has that. Yeah.
I mean, I did the math. I says, well, that's $3 a month. That's actually a pretty good price. So what the hell? Because cartridges are like $30 a pop, and there's 4 of them.
Yeah, I asked at the Office Depot if they had a loan officer available for the ink and toner.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they sell the printers as a loss leader.
I've got one that had a roller that just had a sleeve on it that dried out and cracked.
Yeah.
And you have to buy the whole roller by the time you get in there and purchase that. Not sure it's worth it, but all I need is the sleeve, and
Yeah.
perfectly good printer then.
Yeah, at some point you just have to toss them and get a new one. It's not worth the effort. If you don't use it very often, you're fighting with it every single time you want to use it.
All right, it's raining at my house now.
Yeah, it's raining over here too.
Same here.
Great.
It
Not
was
raining
moving
in
up-
St. Paul.
It was moving up from the southwest to the northeast. It's not very big or very long, though.
Okay, good.
So I'll be able to weed when this is all done. That's great.
Oh darn, I can't mow.
Mm.
So how many more are we expecting?
So that was 2, so we're expecting about 3 more.
And what are they looking to get fixed again? Besides the printer?
Yeah, I mean, I can share my screen with you guys. You can look at it. Can you see it?
Ah,
So this is my messy little spreadsheet I've been using to track stuff. So that was the
oh yeah.
window shade, that was Beth. So somebody's coming with a table lamp, the printer,
Okay,
and then a hair straightener.
okay.
Yep. Yeah. I'm hoping they show up. But if anybody wants to leave early, I understand.
I might go grab a sandwich and bring it back and eat in front of you guys if you don't mind.
Yeah, do that.
It's all good.
Can all have lunch together in different
Virtual
places.
lunch.
What's that?
We can just have a virtual lunch all together.
Time is it? 1 o'clock.
Hmm.
Okay, folks, I will be taking my leave of you from California. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming, Peter.
See you later.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
Cool.
Yeah, I had no idea. They have international ones.
Oh,
That'd
yeah.
be great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of the first ones I sat on was, there was, I don't know, 45 or 50 people working on a waffle iron.
Wow.
Talk about too many cooks, huh?
Oh, it was great. No, the truth is, it was great. It was great.
Did it get fixed?
I was surprised because you didn't have, you would expect with that many people, you would need a structure that says you need to raise your hand digitally before anybody speaks. And, then you'll be recognized by the meeting organizer. And then you can, none of that. Just anybody said anything and, whoever talked had the screen. It worked better than I thought it would, to be honest with you.
But the waffle iron got fixed.
Sort of. It was his problem. He's in Europe, and his problem was that his waffle iron was setting off his ground fault interrupter.
Mm.
So it had a ground fault in it, and so it turned out that there was a problem with one of the elements having. Basically, one of the elements was shorted. The insulation inside of those elements is hygroscopic. It absorbs moisture from the air, and if it does that, then it starts to conduct electricity. It's not supposed to, but it does. And so you'll actually get a reading on a voltmeter between the center element and the outside casing. An ohm meter, I mean. You'll get a reading between the center element and the outside casing in one direction only, unfortunately. So it shows you that there is definitely a ground fault. But that's just because the element that's hooked into the wall is also shorting, albeit just a little, to the ground in the appliance. Whoa! It took a while to figure that out, because end to end the element's fine. It conducts electricity, and everything conducts as it should until you try to see if there really is a short in that element. We weren't able to figure it out. So it took a while. And then the repair, there's no real repair to that,
Oh,
short of getting a new element. You know, you could theoretically, you could put that heating element in an oven and dry it for a long period of time and see if the moisture kind of got out of the insulation. Not a lasting fix. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
well, that's too bad.
Yeah. And it was actually, that was his second week there too. He had to come back. Oh, look at the cat. There's a cat.
Yeah, you want to join in?
I need another cat. We had a cat that lived to be 21, 22 years old, something like that. Just really, really old for a cat, and healthy right up till the end. So I want another cat.
Well, I have a cat right now who is sleeping, but he just got done killing a couple of bunnies under my deck, so I had to order some granules because I can't reach under there and it's smelling. So I had to order some non-toxic things you can spread on the ground that are supposed to get rid of that. So just saying, they have their good things, they have their not so good things. I love my cat, but he is, you know, he's a boy cat, man.
Yeah. Our neighbor cat shows up at our back door, wants to come in all the time. We let him in. He wanders around. He leaves. That's fine.
No cat box.
That's right.
Cat box.
Actually, we still have a cat box downstairs, but he doesn't use it.
Oh.
We just never got rid of it. It's still there. It's still loaded and ready to go.
Yeah, it's got other cat smell in it.
Yeah, probably.
There was a study done in a town in England, and they tracked the cats over the course of many nights, and they'd go around and visit various houses and eat each other's food, and figured out they're pretty social.
I saw that on TV. That was crazy. Yeah, their range was amazing.
Yeah.
And like you said, going into, they set up cameras and watched them come into other people's dog and cat doors and eat their food and then leave. I mean, it was.
Oh. Oops.
It was very cool.
We have two cats, and both of them were, nobody wanted them, essentially, so we rescued them. And one of them was kind of like an outside cat during the summer. And now we live in the middle of St. Paul and try to keep him from going outside too much, but he's so happy. And so, yeah, he also went and he found like a little baby bunny's nest, and we kept finding like little headless bunnies. It was so gross.
Oh, yeah.
And so we tried to stop letting him go outside. One day, I had like an armful of groceries coming in from outside, and he was outdoors, I didn't know, and he runs inside my house with a bunny in his mouth and into my basement. Long story short, the bunny got free and ran into our wall in our basement. And so we had a bunny living in our wall for like a day. It was just a mess. We couldn't get it out.
Did he die in there, or did you get him out?
No, eventually my husband was able to put on a glove and was able to like corner the bunny and get it out. But
oh my God.
yeah.
So this is what happened to me, is that we had a cat that lived 18 years, and so she was with us for a long time, and she was very young before we didn't get her spayed in time. Anyway, she was an indoor-outdoor cat, and she ended up with a litter, which we put in, we found the litter in the neighbor's garage, brought it back to our house, and set up station in the bathroom. And when the kittens got old enough, Tigger would go outside alone and leave the kittens because they were safe. And so one day Tigger goes outside and she comes back, she's got a snake in her mouth. And I'm not thinking clearly, and I'm going, what are you doing with that? And I grab the snake and I start to wrestle with her, like a little tug of war. You're like, here, give me that snake. And then I went, what am I doing? So then I just told her, because I don't have a snake phobia or anything, but what am I doing? So I finally said, just go away and come back when you don't have that. And she went away, and about 10 minutes later, she came back without the snake. But she was trying to feed the babies. So yikes.
Wow.
I know, those cats, those darn cats.
They're fun, aren't they?
Yes. So did you gain a person? I thought I saw a new person come into the screen.
I
for a
haven't
minute.
seen anybody new. Come on.
Oh, it was that Pat guy. So maybe he was just trying to say something.
Pat's just standing in front of his house there, I think.
Yeah.
I wish. Well, I'm eating lunch, so I thought I'd take the camera. That's Neuschwanstein in Bavaria.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Crazy Ludwig's castle. That's the castle that they modeled the Disney castle after.
Oh, really? Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not, it was only built in the 19th century, so it's not exactly an ancient castle or anything. It's mostly unfinished too, but it's beautiful. I'm sure you've seen pictures of it before.
Oh, I'm sure. All I can think is the upkeep. Seriously.
Well, it's a huge tourist attraction, and they charge, I don't remember what it was, but there's plenty of money coming in.
Oh, well, I was a fan of Downton Abbey, and they did an actual, like a little documentary about the actual Downton Abbey.
Oh, yeah,
And that family, it takes a ton of money just to even to keep the physical building, because it's so old.
Yeah, I was actually over in the UK about almost this time last year, and I stayed in several different cities. And one of the cities I stayed in was the one that's right outside of Highclere Castle. In fact, that was one of my big things that I did when I was over there, was go to visiting castles and what have you. And I went to go into that one. I hadn't seen Downton Abbey at the time, and they said it was closed because they didn't open until like June, I think. So I just missed having the chance to go through it. It was after that I watched the series. So there's a lot of houses like that over there still. Most of them are, ruins or are for tourist stuff. But yeah, nobody has the money to keep those things up anymore with 50, 60 servants and.
Well, just dusting. It just seems so amazing to me.
Yeah, I toured. In fact, the first place I went through when I was there was called Calkey Abbey, and it was called country estate, kind of like it's run by the National Trust. There's two organizations over there that manage a lot of those old historic properties, and parts of it were in ruins basically, and they said that's how we're showing this one. It's an old 18th century estate that is in decline.
Oh yeah.
A lot of those castles over there are just ruins anyway. They've all been slated. That's where actually the term came from. During the English Civil War, they would capture a castle and then they'd ruin it so it couldn't be used as a fortification anymore. That was called slating.
Slating.
Right. Don't you feel slighted?
Oh, slighted.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Apparently, that's the term they use for ruining these castles so they couldn't use them anymore.
I never heard of that before. Oh, that's exciting.
It's a shame too, because if they hadn't slighted them, they'd be still in pretty good shape.
Oh.
Most of them are just ruins, though, or just shells, or maybe one or two buildings intact. But
Right.
There's one or two that I went through that were Disneyfied.
That's too bad.
Yeah, well, the one was actually owned by Toussaint's, it was in Madame Toussaint's.
Okay,
And
I don't know.
it's in good shape, but it was real touristy, as opposed to just climbing through a bunch of rocks, like a lot of them were.
Well, I learned something new. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I was going to be going to France this spring. I would have been, my trip was going to be over Memorial Day. I would have been home about 2 weeks ago, but nope.
Yeah, no,
It'll still be there next year.
hopefully.
I feel like I haven't been keeping up with the statistics in other countries just because the US has been having so many confirmed cases. What is it like in France with COVID or abroad?
Well, I don't think they're still allowing, international travel. I think they're just now opening up to other EU people to come in.
Yeah.
I think Brazil's about to overtake us, though, as the big one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's last I read. Yeah, that's the thing that gets me. People are bitching and moaning. The governor's making us do all this stuff. Don't blame him. It's the whole world, for crying out loud. The whole world's in this situation, not just little Minnesota.
Ooh.
So maybe at the next virtual event, if we decide to have one, we'll just open it up to anybody who's interested and let them sign on whenever and figure out what they have when they sign on. Maybe that'll be the plan.
Well, I really liked doing this because I like to listen to how these are, and I had a curtain, the window shade issue, and I mean, so I would be interested in just keeping posted.
Yeah.
It is helpful if we have some idea of the items that are coming
Okay.
before people show up, just so that we get a chance to do some research.
Mhm.
It's helpful if we can get out ahead of what the common failure modes are for the item, and if there are hints like there's little pictures of the keyboard next to the screws you need to take out and things
Right.
like that, to figure out beforehand. Those are helpful.
Okay.
We don't want to limit ourselves, but if we can know that, if we can know, at least have people say, yes, I'm coming, I'm going to bring this is what I've tried, that's helpful. But in terms of scheduling them in, have them all show up at once. I think this is so much fun. It's actually more fun, even if they're fixing somebody else's thing.
Yeah.
Kind of watching the process.
Yeah.
They may feel more invested in it also if they have to provide some information. They're more likely to show up.
I think so. I'd be afraid that we'd have lots and lots and lots of people show up,
Mhm.
and
Nothing to fix.
well, that's fine. That's okay. It's when they all show up with something to fix and they start feeling like, I'm not getting what I want to out of this. Nobody's talking to me about my thing. I'm not interested in everybody else's stuff,
Mhm.
I overheard, were you guys talking about breakout rooms before? Is there a way to set people aside if they do have?
Yeah, you can do breakout rooms.
Yeah.
So if there were like too many people at once.
it is possible to do that, but now you're going to also take our collective knowledge and split it. So if we had three
Right.
people show up and you sent the people here trying to do fixing into separate rooms, first, we don't get to benefit from each other. I learn
Right.
something every time I do this, and it's just not as robust as experience for us or them, I think.
Oh, I agree. I was just thinking,
Yeah. Yep,
if we
yep.
had like 10 people or something
yeah.
and we
Well,
had to do
plus
something
I
or something,
think-
just leave.
I also think that what I know about, and I'm honest to Pete, I don't know a lot, but what I think I know is that when you do those breakout sessions, I think the easiest way to do it is to randomize them. Otherwise, I think you have to plan it out way ahead of time. But you can do it random, but then you don't know which people end up with which person either. I mean, as far
Oh,
as,
yeah.
you know, I think you'd have to
Yeah.
plan that ahead of time different.
I can tell you what they've done in the global session. They'll go in and they'll do a quick triage on the item, and then they'll say, well, it looks like this is going to take more time than we're going to be able to get into with the big group here. Brad, you've been talking to this lady about her mixer. Would you be willing to go into a breakout room with her, and is there anybody else? And Brad says, of course I would. I'd be excited to do that. And then and then they'd ask the question, well, does anybody else interested in going into that breakout room? And they'd kind of take that person who was center stage and continue working on their item in the breakout room with whoever nominated themselves into the room, and then move on to the next item and kind of continue that till they get through all the items, with some agreement that if you finish in the breakout room, come back into the main room, or, after some pre-prescribed period of time, you come back into the main room. We did have to go in and fetch some people out of breakout rooms because the session went on for a while. So they kind of put you into the breakout room. You get in there and they're just yakking. They're just doing kind of like what we're doing here. You want to come back into the room and report out?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how they've done it. You guys, you guys, us can do it any way we want.
Mhm.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's how they did it.
Our plan today, if everybody showed up, was we had like 2 complicated repairs, which was going to be the laptop and then the printer, and then all the other stuff seemed a little bit simpler. And this is what we kind of talked about on Monday.
Sure.
And so the plan was to have like the main room like this one, and then have the breakout session. And so the breakout session was going to be like the complicated repair room, and then the main room was going to be where everybody can like chat and hang out and stuff, just to be able to focus the attention on like the actual repair. But people have to sign on for this stuff, so.
Kirsten, it says your network bandwidth was low and your picture shrunk down and your video's getting choppy.
All right.
I didn't see that.
Okay.
I didn't either.
I didn't either.
When you were talking, it said your bandwidth is low. Your picture was now a little fraction.
Yeah, I saw the same thing.
It's odd that everybody wouldn't.
I won't see it. I have a very
monitor?
slow connection.
Do you have separate monitor? Do you have 2 monitors or 1 monitor?
I am only using 1.
No, I was talking to Howard.
Oh, sorry.
I have multiple monitors. Yeah.
Because when people talk with Zoom, they pop up on their own picture.
They can. Yeah.
That's how I have it set, and that's when it was saying that Kirsten had low bandwidth.
There you go. So it was trying to. Yeah. Okay.
I think that's a function of the receiving end.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
So mine is set so that it always stays in grid mode, because I find that
Right.
having the person talking, flashing in the monitor scares me.
Well, that way when somebody shows their their camera, you can see a bigger version of it.
And I need to see that. But then I go and I steal the camera from them, and I don't mean to. I try to mute, but people flash in front of me. It just kind of makes me, it wants to give me an epileptic seizure.
Well, everyone, I'm going to head out, but thank you for being on the call, and hope to do this again sometime.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave too.
All
All
right.
right.
Bring your compressor to a clinic.
Okay, I will. Thanks.
See you,
Bye.
Sarah.
Bye.
Bye.
That's the other way they get bigger is more people leave, then there's.
That's true. There is a practical limit to the number it will show all at once, but then it just gives you a second screen that you can go to see the rest of the people.
Yeah.
I forget what that limit was. I never thought I'd hit it. There is one.
Now I'm playing with the different functions. I've gotten notified that my internet is slow, but I don't know what to do about that.
Not much you can do.
I know. Tell other people to stop using it.
Do you have DSL or
We have-
like Xfinity?
We have like Xfinity.
You got to pay for the upgrade.
Yeah, I just bumped mine from 200 to 400. And it wouldn't go up, and I had the tech out there. We figured out it was a setting in my modem. So there's something called quality of service, and I just clicked a button that said run a bandwidth test, and then all of a sudden it saw the higher bandwidth that was available, and now it became available. Strange setting, but
Yeah, QoS gives preference to certain services. So I have, for example, I have VoIP, and I don't want my phone to get cut off because we're streaming a movie.
sure.
So I give priority to my VoIP through my modem so that I don't get cut off.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, even though my available bandwidth was way up,
Yeah.
I didn't know about it until I
Oh.
clicked the button that said run bandwidth test.
Huh.
And then, because it said the last time it had run, it was, a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it only showed 200. And then we
Oh yeah.
pushed the button again. Now it was 400. And now when I ran the speed test after that, now it was back where it should be.
It's where it
So
should be. Sure.
it somehow was just remembering that last bandwidth test that it had run. I shut off the QoS anyway because I really don't need it.
I heard, CenturyLink was offering gigabit up and down for life for, was it $65 a month?
Really?
Really?
Yeah, fiber.
For life?
Yes,
Or
I mean,
until
a month.
somebody,
So it's a lifetime price.
or until somebody else buys them and then.
Yeah, or you change, or
Yeah.
you make any change to your
Yeah,
plan.
right. Yeah, there's a
have you.
fine print.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just using DSL, and I pay close to that, and I was seriously considering doing it. I just don't know what I do with gigabit service upbound. I'm not going to run a web server or push,
Yeah.
I was just having problems with our internet being really weak, and then it would strengthen up again and get really weak. And there was a guy out in a CenturyLink truck in the street, and he says, well, I said, are you fixing this? He says, no, but if you had a router and a modem, that's what I use at home. And I'm not sure really what the difference is.
Most things do both.
Well, it all comes down to what's going on in your neighborhood too. I'm just running a test right now and I'm only getting 81. It's getting up at 81. No, take that back, 163. It should be twice that easily.
But it's also when you're not doing a bunch of other stuff like
Right, yeah.
this.
Yeah, right.
This eats
Yeah.
bandwidth. So the other thing, Joe, is
Still pretty fast.
it wireless or wireless that's coming and going? Because my wireless
I
is
think.
flaky.
Well,
Yeah,
you have to have 5G to get the full speed. Regular 2.4 bandwidth on your Wi-Fi isn't gonna have the same speed as the 5 gigabit one.
Yeah.
My router does 2.4 and 5.
Yeah. So instead of N, it's like A and B or something like that.
A, B, and N.
Yeah.
Then the router itself, can do 2 bands.
Mhm. Yeah.
Some devices you buy don't use the 5G. I think that's not really 5G. It's 5G. Some do support it. I actually have several SSIDs in my house. 2.4 and the 5, and then I've got an extender, but that one only does to 2.4. And I could set it up so it's a 5G connection from my main router to the extender, and then 2.4 for it going out. And these things can do a lot of stuff these days. I got a lot of gadgets attached to it, so.
Yeah.
Just got rid of DirecTV after all these years.
What I've found is that wireless goes in and out and up and down. Perhaps it doesn't at the higher speeds, but I don't have any of that newfangled stuff. I mean, I'm not running G, but it's all 2.4 gigahertz regular stuff, but the wireless is not that reliable. And wireless extenders for me were like next to useless. What I found was really useful was power line.
Oh,
So I have power line that I use to run my network extenders, and that's made all the difference in the world, because that connection has been rock solid, where it takes basically an internet port, a cable from a wired cable, and runs it over the electrical wires in the house to wherever I plug in my device. And that's been just rock solid, man. Wireless will go up and down and be good and bad and crowded channels and whatever it is that's going on with that. But I haven't had any interruptions at all in my power line stuff.
So is that like a cordless phone?
No, it actually takes your wired signal and encodes it and sends it over the power lines in your home.
Wow.
To a device that decodes it on the other side and then turns it into a wireless signal. So I have a wireless extender in the back of the house because I couldn't get from front to back, but the signal between that extender and my router goes over the power lines instead of wirelessly. And that is just, it's the difference between night and day. It freed up traffic in the wireless network, and it's like being plugged in. And so now, because I have another device out there, I use that same thing. I have a camera in my garage, and I use that same power line control to get from the garage into the house, because there's no way in hell I could get from a wireless camera inside the garage. I have a detached garage, separate, out in the yard someplace, to inside the house without doing all kinds of fancy antenna stuff and whatnot. But instead, it comes in over the power lines, and it's, again, I don't even think about it. It's rock solid. It's fast. It's always working. Very cool. Highly recommended. I have like a bunch of these things. They kind of look like what you would expect a thing to look like. This one is, so it plugs into the wall. I can still use the outlet, and it's got a cable on the bottom.
Oh.
And the cable is just like you would expect. There's also one of these, though, that has ears on it and works wireless, so that in the porch, when I'm trying to run the Roku or Chromecast or whatever, I can connect to one of these that's plugged into the wall that gets its stuff from the...
That's an extender, essentially.
Yeah, it is, but one of the legs is wired using your home wiring. And as long as you don't have multiple circuits in your house, you've got two legs of your service in your house. If you have 240, you got two 120 legs or whatever, and so as long as.
So do you just need one of those, or do you use it everywhere you plug in?
They're sold in pairs. There's one that attaches to your router, and that's to kind of create the link to your router and to the network, and the plug in the wall, and then. So think of that as the kind of the home unit, and then you need as many other units as you want to have that connection through the power lines. So
Like the one out in the garage.
Like I have one in the garage. I have one right. I'm running off of one right now because I'm upstairs in the back of the house. The router's yonder. I can still get a signal up here, but it's nowhere near as good as what I'm getting off the power line.
We got a lot of gadgets that are on Z-Wave, and Z-Wave creates a mesh network. So the more we put, the better it gets.
As long as they're the plug-in ones.
Yeah, right.
The battery ones don't relay. So
yeah,
I run Z-Wave on the back of the house here. for the home automation sensors for the garage door and stuff like that. They come in over Z-Wave and bounce to the hub. Yeah, I got Z-Wave and Zigbee and
I haven't got any Zigbee device. My hub will support Zigbee, but
yep, smart things.
I've just mine's actually from Vera, but
Is it? Okay.
I've just stuck with the Z-Wave because I haven't found anything that Z-Wave can't do, and no sense having one or two Zigbees.
And I got it. I got Zigbee, Z-Wave, regular IP, you know, smart things, smart home. Everybody's got a smart in it, and they're all using their own apps to communicate.
No.
Crazy. Home automation. Yay.
Yeah, I've got pretty much everything.
I am currently house
I've got
hunting.
everything, literally including the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
I can literally control my kitchen sink by voice and touch.
I can't. I can't do. I haven't gone there.
It's kind of nice. You can say fill the sink, and it'll fill the sink up to a certain point and stop.
Oh, that's sick, man.
Put a pot underneath it. You pre-program it so that it'll fill a certain amount and stop. It's a touch control too, but a toy. Hey.
Oh, you're off the deep end, man. Somebody needs to call 911.
Well, I needed a new faucet anyway, and then I saw that. I said, okay. Hey, I don't spend money on $30,000 snowmobiles and motorcycles and stuff like that. I spend money on $100 gadgets. It's a heck of a lot cheaper. Everybody's got to have toys. Those are my toys.
Brad, did you say you were house hunting? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a bunch of ideas for like home automation stuff and like fancy systems I can install, but not quite yet. I just put an offer on a house I'm moving today.
Oh, exciting!
So, yeah. So hopefully that'll pan out in the next like couple months. I have a bunch of ideas for like fun like automation systems like in the house, and yeah, it's something is. Because one reason I want a house is just for project ideas. Because I'm an electrical engineer and like I have a bunch of ideas for like stuff I could do, like water systems for garden, camera systems, audio systems. Like can't do that. Can't do that. Oh, tape is wearing out. Can't do that in an apartment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've been doing that for probably 25 years. Back when. There was software called Mr. House, and there was the hardware was from a company called X10.
Yeah, X10, yeah.
And I have probably 150 pieces of X10 that I picked
got a
up.
bunch too, if you want them.
Yeah,
so reliable compared to Z-Wave.
You're correct. It was only about 85%. You had to send it again. Basically.
Are you tied into Alexa for voice control and things?
Actually, I use Google Home, yeah.
Google Home, okay, yeah. So I can control pretty much everything by voice too.
Your TV?
I could turn the sink on right now by saying.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't forget to turn it off.
Yeah. Well, I've changed mine from Alexa to the C word.
Ah, okay.
When I'm watching Star Trek, though, it's a real pain in the ass, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's right. Computer.
Sit right here, it'll hear you.
We've been using Google Home since we had them we have them both, but we've been using Google Home almost forever. Just because it just ended up being the one that made the most sense.
I got the Alexa right away. I mean, I have one of the first generation, tall cylindrical ones.
Yep.
And that still works.
Yep. See, my mother-in-law has one of those. I've been giving those. I have actually my mother-in-law and the woman next door both have Alexas that we provided to them so that they can say, Alexa, call Howard, and they'll make the phone call.
Sure.
So if they fall down or they need help or something, I know it's not industrial grade fall button or anything, but it's a whole lot better than nothing.
Well, you got them for your car now too.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
What I'm amazed is that that thing can hear as well as it does.
I
Yet
agree.
the ones in my house, I'll say it, and the one 3 rooms away hears me. It's like, well,
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, but the one in the car can hear over everything. And it's like, why? And it's just a little $25 deal. It works very well, actually.
So Pat, is your TV hooked into your system?
Yeah, to some degree, but the problem is when it's on, the thing can't hear me well enough. So I just have the Logitech, remote that.
Okay.
I mean,
You don't have a Harmony hub?
Yeah, I do.
You do, and you don't have it hooked in?
I do, but again, when you give the commands,
Yeah.
it can't hear you because the thing is, I have one of the video screen ones.
Oh,
on
okay.
the other side of the room, so when
Yeah.
it's right next to the speakers, so when that one doesn't hear me very well.
Oh, no, yeah, that wouldn't work at all, yeah.
Rather than yelling at the thing, I just pick up the Harmony, and it's just easier. Plus, you got to remember what all the commands are too.
Yeah, well, we made it easy. I went into Google Home and set up commands in the assistant that remember all that stuff. So all I say is channel 9, and it knows to change the TV to channel 9-1.
Well, I just got rid of my DirecTV box, and now it's all through the apps on the TV, and that isn't quite as integrated.
Yeah.
In other words, I got Spectrum streaming and then the over-the-air, so it's not quite the same anymore. But again, I didn't use it that way anyway because it was so hard to remember, or hard for it to hear me and then remember what all the commands were. But I can try to turn it on and off. I mean, I'll say
sure,
turn on the TV, and then that'll pop it on.
Yep.
I have routines that when I go from upstairs to downstairs.
Yep.
The main floor, and that turns on the TV and the light. And so it's actually a combination of automation from the Vera box and through Alexa.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mix. It doesn't really matter which one does it because it's all what's the word I'm looking for? Transparent.
Yep. So if you open my doors and the alarm's set, then dogs bark.
Yeah. I got my Vera. I can put a geofence where it puts me into home mode and away mode when I
sure.
my phone, but it doesn't always catch when I come home, and then I open the garage door and all the lights come on and the buzzer goes off. It missed the transition, so I generally don't use. I don't have a real burglar alarm anyway. It's just a couple of screamers sirens that turn on.
Yep.
So I don't use I don't use that anymore.
We don't remember to turn it off either. So
yeah.
I think I'll be.
Alexa's got something called Guard, where it theoretically listens for like your smoke alarm going off. So you can say, Alexa, I'm leaving, and then it'll say, okay, I'm guarding. But then I have to have another command to turn things off when I leave. It won't allow you to use the same command and then add other steps onto it, which is really strange. And then the other thing Alexa does that annoys me is you can't, a lot of the things are controlled by a skill as opposed to a smart home device. And it would seem, but I don't know how many.
Yeah, me too. It's excruciating.
Yeah. You want to go out and grab
Well, 1 in 10 of our people, 1 in 20 of our people walk in and they want to grab the screwdriver and they want to do all the work and they want to do all of it, and this will work for them.
Sure.
It's the rest of our constituents that we need to find a different response to, I guess. And then really, is there a sweet spot in here for us as fixers to kind of create some excitement around this? And I don't know if there is or isn't. It's fun to drop into the to the global things. They make it publicly available. All you got to do is pre-register. I guess there's a link that will kind of take you to the registration if you have a time on your calendar. Kirsten, you sent something out earlier, or either that or you did, Joe, to the Dakota Fixer community. Joe, you sent it. That's right. Right around the same time that Peter was soliciting Nancy for involvement, you sent something out to everybody. Said they're starting up virtual clinics. Here's the information on it. Did you get any kind of response or feedback from people on that?
I'm trying to recall what that was.
It was a note from Peter. It might have come via Nancy, or it might have come direct.
Oh yeah, I think I sent it out just generally if you're interested in this, log in with him. So I didn't see any feedback.
You wouldn't, but you didn't hear anything back or see anything,
no.
Because I haven't really seen anybody from Dakota County on those calls. I hopefully I'd recognize them. Certainly I'd recognize their face, or not. I'm not always that good at that stuff. I'm sorry, Kirsten.
It's okay.
Yeah, I would have thought there might be more feedback, but of course, people like the social activity of coming and seeing people they know.
That's right. That's right. And the side talk and all that other stuff.
That's right.
That's why I do it.
Yeah.
I certainly don't do it to spend that many hours working on that thing. I mean, it's cool, but there's more to it than that. All right. Well, I didn't mean to keep you guys here. I just was interested in your thoughts on the subject.
So
It's worth a try.
oh yeah, so I did reach out to like Hennepin. I reached out to Washington County and Ramsey County to see if they might want to like coordinate, like partner together for some sort of event. There's like some interest out there, and then we could like share volunteers or fixers. And I think that people are just honestly a little bit nervous, like kind of, you know, like you guys, you know, how do we coach people through some of these repairs? And that's,
right.
I think that's where the process of kind of weeding through, like, what's wrong with your item? Do you feel comfortable taking it apart? Asking those kinds of questions of residents that
Sure.
could help a little bit. And maybe next time, if we decide to do this again, recruiting people, I can like explain that process a little bit more. Or maybe it's just the fact that they're like, who is this county person? I work with Joe, like, delete.
Hey, you're not Joe. That's right. You were in my spam folder.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we've also looked into the possibility of doing like YouTube videos. A lot of counties are looking into having like a fixer, like you, Howard, with all your cool gadgets and stuff, being like, you have a Roomba and it does this, you could fix it this way. But it gets into the strange category of like, okay, how quality is this video gonna be? Like, who's gonna edit this? All this technology that I'm not sure that we have.
Yeah. And it's a ton of work, and the content is already there on YouTube. I mean,
Right.
I look at YouTube all the time. It's a matter. There's so much of finding one that seems to do what you want it to without overwhelming the person who's getting the content.
Yeah.
That's why I picked the particular one that I did, because it's not technical. It's the lady taking the screws out of the back of that computer. I don't know if she should have been doing it. But she seemed to do it okay, and she didn't break anything, and so it seemed like it would make somebody comfortable and without leading them down a path that would leave them with a pile of scrap. So anyway.
Yeah. If there's any other ideas or feedback, or if you're interested in doing this again, let us know.
Yeah. So I have to opt in.
Did you have specific times that people were expected to sign in?
Just for the laptop and the printer.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody else, we just kind of said sign on whenever. But I did say between 12 and 2:30, expecting that we would have some time. So
that printer person, we were expecting them at what time?
The printer person, I was expecting them at 1:30 and they just
Oh,
didn't.
1:30, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Okay.
And what might make sense is to tell what people what time we start, and then take people on a first come first served basis, but not necessarily leave it open ended till kind of the end of the session. So it creates this expectation that we're going to start at this time, and if we run out of resources and stuff, we're going to take people on a first come first served basis. So
Yeah, I'll add that to my email next time.
I don't know that that's right or wrong, but I'm trying to think of what happens if we get overwhelmed. If you do get it out on Facebook a week in advance and lots of people show up,
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's not right. I don't know.
Well, that's why I did it this way, is because I was nervous
Yeah.
that we were going to get too many people.
Sure. Yep. And with the number of folks we have, I could see where that would happen.
Yeah, and it's a pilot event, so I mean, today in itself was a learning process.
Well, sure.
So, yeah. Well, thank you all for signing on.
Alrighty, we'll see y'all later.
Yeah. Happy Saturday.
Yeah. Bye.
And have a good Father's Day.
Yeah, happy Father's Day if you're a father.
Hey, happy Father's Day.
All right. Bye.
Howdy ho, neighbors. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.